Welcome back. Make sure that you have a copy of the commas and end mark notes to complete as you follow along with the video. Remember, you can pause the video at any time if you need to stop and write, or pause it so that you can copy down the blanks that need to be done. Please make sure your notes are complete by the end of the video. Once you are done with the video, you need to make sure that you are gluing your notes into your grammar journal. All right, well, let's get started. What are commas? Commas can be used in different ways. When writing, it is important to know and use the comma rules. The first rule is items in a series. You use a comma between words or phrases in a series. For example, I would like to order a burger. You see the comma, fries. You see the comma, and a soda. Remember, you can pause if you need to complete your notes and then resume when you are done. The next rule is in letters. Use a comma after a greeting and after the closing. For example, we would put dear teacher, comma, then you would write your letter, and at the end you would say from, comma, or sincerely, comma, and then your name. The next rule is for dates and addresses. We use a comma to separate city and state and to separate the dates, just like you see below. You see Kansas City, Missouri, Kansas City, comma, Missouri, and then you put a comma in dates when you are writing the month, the day of the month, comma, the year. And just a reminder, you can pause if you need to catch up with your notes and then resume when you are done. The next comma rule is in a compound sentences. We will talk about compound sentences a little later this week as well. But you use a comma before the conjunction in a compound sentence. We went to the park, comma, then we went to get ice cream. The next one is in dialogue, and we put quotations in dialogue. So use a comma before or after someone is speaking in a written dialogue. For example, quote, I have a note to give you, comma, quote, said Paul, period. You may have written a couple of these when you did your realistic fiction story that you wrote. And we will be going back and editing those using our new rules. The next thing we do, a comma rule, is during introductory. We use a comma to set off who is being spoken to, or interjections, or a group of words. So, for example, this one says, quote, hey, watch out, said the driver. Or you could have put somebody's name in there, like Max, comma, watch out. Just a couple of examples. At the bottom of your comma notes, you will see that there is a let's discuss. At this time, I would like for you to write your own sentence using at least one of the comma rules. Do not share with your partner just yet. You will be able to do that just a little bit later. Let's let everyone get through their notes first before we start interrupting them. All right, let's look at the other side of your notes for end marks. Now we're going to be talking about end marks. End marks are the period, exclamation marks, and question marks. When we talk, we naturally pause and speak with annotation to communicate effectively. So it's like when you speak and you do that pause, like if you're listening to me, every time I pause, you can visualize an end mark or a comma of some sorts. So also when we write, we need to use punctuation to show the pause and the annotation. Using punctuation is important because it helps your writing flow, it increases the reader's comprehension, it improves the readability, it provides pauses for the reader, and it conveys a message correctly. If you punctuate incorrectly, you might write something with an entirely different meaning. So some of you have written some wonderful stories, but if you noticed, if you go back, there's no periods in some of those stories, which means that you have one page long sentence, and that's really hard to read at times. What is an end mark? Well, an end mark is a punctuation mark that punctuates or notes the end of a sentence. The more common ones that we use are period, question mark, and exclamation point. The period is a punctuation mark to use at the end of a sentence or an abbreviation. The period is also referred to as an end stop. For example, I went to the store. And you see the period at the end. Period are also used for abbreviations. Here's the examples. You have Dr., Mr., Mrs., AM, to abbreviate October or a day of a week, Monday. And if your sentence ends with an abbreviation, you only use one period. There's no need for two of them. The question mark is a punctuation mark used at the end of a sentence to indicate a question. For example, you have, did you buy ice cream? And you'll notice that the question mark is at the end. You do not punctuate indirect question with a question mark. Example, I asked her if she bought ice cream. That is a sentence, and we end with a period. The next one is the exclamation form, or the exclamation point. It is a punctuation mark used to indicate intense emotion, excitement. It is used at the end of an interjection or a command. For example, don't touch that. Hey, are you talking to me? Remember, now that you are done with your notes, to make sure that you glue these down in your journal. For when we do a journal check, we're going to want to make sure that we have all of our notes in there and they are in the correct order. When you are done gluing these in your grammar journal, please go down and complete the practice that is provided for you.